ahí viene el agua, cuidado, cuidado, que ahí viene el agua.
Welcome everybody. Today we have new special guests. On this hand we have Adam Batz. How are you, Adam?
Great. Thank you for having me today.
It's a great pleasure to have you on this day with us. And on the other hand, but not less important, we have Emilio Fuentes. How are you?
Good. It's our debuts on a podcast for Adam and I, so excited.
Yeah, so let's begin. Adam, sometimes we try to understand the background of our people that we had in the podcast. So maybe we would like to know some history about Fike and of course about you. But maybe if you can start telling us how does Fike started, maybe what was the first product that you sell, and what about the selling that product, how was the process, who started, and after that who, I mean, we know Fike nowadays, so what happened between the first sale and nowadays? So it's a really growth company.
Yeah. Fike was started by my grandfather in 1945. He had left a company called BS&B, and he was a machinist, and he started his own machine shop in his basement. And my grandmother worked the drill press. They were a team, and their first product was called the triple topper, and it was a bottle opener, can opener. You nailed it to your wall, and it had some teeth on it. Helped you turn the lid off of a jar. And my uncle, when he was a little boy, would drag them around the neighborhood in his wagon and sell them door to door. And actually, one of our sales guys found a couple on eBay.
Wow. And
bought them for us. So I've made my own little display shadow box that has the triple topper in
That's
the original
awesome.
Packaging sitting in my office.
Okay.
But we started from that kind of humble beginnings, and then in the early 50s, the patent on the rupture disc had run out at BS&B, which is the company he worked for previously, and his brother came to him and said, Monsanto wants a rupture disc. Would you make one? And a rupture disc is a metal disc made out of any kind of material you can think of that fits the application, but anywhere from tiny to huge. And they are pressure relief devices. They're just designed to fail at certain conditions, certain pressures, and then let that pressure out so there's not an overpressurization in a vessel or some kind of vessel. And he took that little piece of metal and sold it for the price of a Cadillac and said, I need to be in this business. And so he grew that company coming from BS&B. And then one day, a couple of our engineers left and started a company called Continental Disc. And now the three largest rupture disc manufacturers in the world are BS&B, Fike, and Continental Disc.
Okay.
It's really interesting to see the connection with some of these companies that are in these niche areas, and you'll see that in all the different different product groups that Fike works in. But Fike's main products are rupture discs. We do special hazard fire suppression, which Coltec is a great partner of ours in.
Yes.
And then we also do explosion protection. So across the board, I like to say that we keep factories from blowing up, and we put out fires in high value areas. So, but like I said, it's a family company that grew from humble beginnings.
Okay.
We started in that basement, and now we have our world headquarters outside Kansas City, Missouri. It's right in the center of the country. We have manufacturing in Burlington, Ontario, Canada. Our European headquarters is in Herentals, Belgium, where we have manufacturing as well. We have sales offices across Europe and the UK. We have a company that manufactures electronic parts in Wales, in the UK. We have offices in Dubai, Kuala Lumpur, and as I told you guys earlier, in Tokyo. And it's fun to have a company that started that small, has stayed family-owned. We're in our third generation of family-owned and managed. My twin brother, he's my little brother, is the CEO, and my older brother has now become the president, and they kind of share those duties on various sides of the company. But the three of us have a good time growing the company as a family and taking that opportunity, take it to the next generation. Yeah. And I think that makes us pretty special. When you have a company that is focused on generational growth, on protecting the company and their employees. We have third generation people that have worked at the company. It's very interesting.
Yeah, that's not common, right?
No. I mean, it's not uncommon at Fike to talk to somebody that's been there for over 30 years. I had an employee that just retired that worked for me, and he'd been at Fike for 51 years.
Wow.
He took a pay cut from bagging groceries to come work at Fike. And he went all the way through Fike. He worked as a draftsman. He worked and helped develop a number of our products over the years. So he started in that position, and by the time he ended his career, he sat on 5 NFPA committees in the explosion protection space and was a kind of a recognized world expert on explosion protection.
Okay.
And it's so funny. He bought my parents' house when I was 3.
Wow.
He knew me since I was a baby, and I would give his end of the year reviews to him, and we would just chuckle. But yeah, you see a number of people, like I said, third generation people at the company, and it really is a family. I've always thought if anybody at a company talks about, oh, we're family, you need to run away from that company. Because they're usually trying to spin something, right?
Huh.
But at Fike, we really do. We really look at one of our major investments is in the people.
Yes.
And we're only as successful as our people. And so we really try and nurture that. We give opportunities for people to grow and have a career path that allows them to really stretch themselves. So.
Okay, you already talked us about like 2 markets, the explosion proof and the fire suppression.
Mm-hmm.
Which market is bigger, or depends on the area, or how does it work?
Well, there are different markets: the pressure relief market, the fire suppression market, and the explosion protection market. But they all kind of informed on each other when we started them. We started with pressure relief, and that technology led to venting in the explosion protection space. But our special hazard fire suppression line and the active controls that go into fire suppression, the control panels and everything, really fed into the technology we developed on the active chemical isolation and suppression in the explosion protection space. So they're all connected, but when you talk about the size, it really depends what part of the world you're in. I would say, and I might get in trouble for this because I should know this better, that our fire business is probably the largest out of the 3, but it's also our lowest margin business.
Okay.
They all grow in different rates. Fire suppression is very project dependent, so it depends on what's going on in the world. Mm-hmm. Are we building? Is there construction going on? Now with the growth of data centers right now, the major focus on data centers to support AI, we're having a major growth there. Before the .com bubble, we had a ton of business coming from technology companies, and then it fell off when the bubble burst in the .com business. Explosion protection is really a business that's taken off, and we have the major opportunity for growth there. A lot of it is dependent on regulation. a lot of it, is forced on companies because explosion protection doesn't make them one more dime, doesn't increase production, doesn't throw anything to the bottom line. It's really about asset and people protection. So the more that regulation kind of drives that, the easier it is for us to work with companies to grow that business. The press relief business is interesting because it is a grinded out real estate play.
Okay.
Every rupture disc has its own holder, so no rupture disc fits in some other company's holder. So the way to protect yourself is to get your holder installed in a process, because then it's a pain to take that holder out and put it, if the company decides that they want a different manufacturer.
Yes.
So the quicker you can get your holder in there, then it becomes an annuity where they just have to continue to buy rupture discs from you.
Yep.
It is a slower growth there, but the rupture disc business is high margin, so it's great business to be in. But I would say that fire is our largest business, but the other two are very very robust too.
Okay. You mentioned some regulations that
Mhm.
maybe are changing the market. We know that some suppression systems are not environmentally friendly, and we know that you manage other solutions that were missed. Maybe it's not that environmentally like HVAC systems that
Mm-hmm.
has a lot of chemicals and stuff like that. But what is your position like? You're the VP, no?
I am, yeah. I know.
Okay, so what is like your position? What do you think that the market is going to evolve for managing this situation of the climate change and the
Mhm. Well, climate change is really what drove halon out of circulation.
Yes.
It was the ozone layer, right? It was destroying the ozone layer. So they have moved. We moved to clean agent gases like FM200 or Fe25. Some of these clean agent gases. Well, recently, new legislation called the AIM Act in the U.S. has put a restriction on how much of those gases can be produced every year. So it's really restricted the supply, it's driven the price up. So what other gases can we use for clean agent? 3M had a product that they developed and sold very successfully. It became the lead kind of gas out there. It was called Novec 1230. And then just one day, 3M decided we're not going to make this anymore. I think that they were worried about liability for the gas itself. Is it considered a PFAS? A PFAS is the forever chemical. There's a lot of restrictions going in and lawsuits for these chemicals that just never go away. Do they cause cancer? We've seen other products that Fike actually had never been involved with, but I'm sure you guys know some of the foam systems that are out there that were very
Yep.
popular for airplane hangars
Yes.
and other areas. There's been a lot of litigation on that have caused pretty large companies to have to declare bankruptcy for some of their divisions, and so 3M just said it's not worth it for us, and they just stopped making Novec. So where do you go from there? There's manufacturers out of China that do make Novec, but they call it something else, FK5112. Those are available, but it really pushed us to go into different systems. We have other systems anyway, and those are becoming much more popular. We have inert gas systems. Inert gas systems have always been more popular in Europe because, let's just be honest, Europe cares more about the environment than
Yep.
the U.S. does. They're not greenhouse gases. They don't. They're very inert. Like I said, it's an inert gas.
Yes, they are
hence the
really
name.
clean.
Yeah, really clean. But we also offer CO2 systems, argon systems, and those are becoming more popular now. And we've been working with you guys on water mist systems. So
Yes.
what is water mist? It is a little bit like a sprinkler, but it uses a fraction of the water. It's creating really fine droplets that absorb the heat and can put out a fire without a ton of water accumulating. When you're looking at deluge sprinklers or anything like that in occupied space buildings, that is really just there to try and tamp the fire down until the fire department shows up, right? It can cause a ton of damage just with the amount of water that comes out of there.
Yes.
And a water system is specifically designed to minimize the amount of water that's used. So there's some good applications for that.
Yeah. How can you manage? Sometimes our clients or customers doesn't want to throw water on their data centers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, talking about sprinkler systems, but they didn't figure out how a water mist system works. They don't understand that maybe it's not water in the
Like a drop of water that would come out of a cloud, right?
Mm-hmm.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
it's more like a gas, no? I guess. How can you manage, or what is the pitch that Fike usually used to convince that they work and they don't?
Well, it's a lot about showing the application, talking to them. Fike's largest customer right now is a data center co-location group, and they're using our DuraQuench water mist system at their data centers. Why would you do that? Like you said, there's restrictions now with some of the other chemicals available. Data centers have historically used clean agent gases because they were appropriate. Now with that becoming less available, everybody's considering, well, what are these other options? Water mist becomes pretty powerful when you're looking at those opportunities. So if you can make somebody feel comfortable with the application, that's what you got to do. And Fike is set up to demonstrate, to test. We do a lot of that. One of our key focuses is on, scientific development, product development. How do we do that? We're one of the few companies that has a remote testing facility where we do fire testing. We do large-scale explosion testing. You should come out sometime. I do
great.
events there, and I do a whole day at Fike for customers and partners and everybody. It's like I force them to sit through seminars in the morning, and nobody listens or cares. Because in the afternoon, we go to the remote site and do big explosions, and that's all they're there for. And I understand that. It's very fun to watch. You can see some of the videos on YouTube, but you don't really know what it is until you've experienced in person and you feel that percussion of an explosion happening in your face. You feel the heat off of an open air deflagration. But when we're talking about fire, we're building a brand new state-of-the-art testing facility at our location there. It's in an old rock quarry near Fike's headquarters. But out above the rock quarry, we're building a 50,000 square foot state-of-the-art testing facility where we're doing fire testing, we're doing battery testing, we're moving our combustion lab out there. We do combustibility testing on dusts to help you understand the explosive characteristics of a dust so you can design mitigation for it. But Fike, like I said, prides itself on really testing things and really having the science behind it and really understanding. So if a customer's talking to us and they say, your competitors say we only need this, and we say, I'm sorry, but we're not going to tell you what you want to hear. We're going to tell you what you need to hear. And here is the data behind why we say it has to be this. And we know it needs to be that because we've tested it. Hey, you know what? We've tested our competitors' products. And these valves that are on the market don't work. And you want to see the video of it not working, we can show it to you. And that's why we designed our own valve that's state-of-the-art, that is a completely new approach to everybody else's valve. And it works. Yep. And we were forced to do that. Hey, there is no way to contain cascading thermal runaway in lithium-ion batteries. A customer came to us and said, hey, can you sell this to us? And we started testing all of the agents that were out there that were being used for battery energy storage. And we realized none of them worked. So what does Fike do? We invented something that does work. state of the art, the only thing that can contain thermal runaway in the world, Fike Blue. And I'm not going to do a sales pitch.
Come on.
But what I'm
Make it.
saying here is it's the Fike approach. It's
Yep.
like we don't stop and say, oh, there's either not a solution or we're just going to sell what everybody else is selling. We're going to look and find a solution. That's what we do. We invent things.
Yeah. And Adam, how frustrating would it be? Because I know that since it's an industry that the main purpose is to save life, like for a product to come out, it will take a ton of R&D, of testing, certifications, to be listed. We know UL, FM. Like we as contractors, we don't have a time frame or an idea of how long does it take, or that process, or how big of an investment is to actually like manage to have a product that you're certain it's going to work to be put out in the market. Like how much time, how much effort does that take for a business like Fike, a brand like Fike that creates products?
Well, you know, I look to Coltech. You guys are a family company. You guys invest in growing a business that can come to the next generation, right? So Fike doesn't think in quarterly earnings reports. We invest in generations. I would say most companies would not have stuck with some of our product lines because it took decades to develop the right offering. But that's what we do, is we stick to it. We know something, a market that we want to be in, and we make that investment to development. We make that investment to science. We make that investment to certifications. And you can see that. I mean, I got to tell you, I don't know a company that would have stuck with exposure and protection as long as we did. But it's paying dividends now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were saying that this year is your 80th anniversary, right?
Yes. Yeah, it's our 80th anniversary, and
Wow.
people always, ask me, how long have you been at Fike? And I like to say, I've been there 48 years.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
But that is what you see is I look at my experience growing up and how it was pretty unique, because I grew up at Fike. I made things for I don't know if you guys have this in Mexico, but the Cub Scouts. It's like a group where you learn how to camp and.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they have this thing where you make a little car out of a block of wood and you race them. Well, I made mine on the shop floor at Fike. I went to shareholder meetings since I was 10 or 12. My dad was just, kind of enamored with, in the 80s, there was a big push for Japanese management styles, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he was a big believer in that, and he would make us go through the process of, we were writing mission statements when we were in junior high, and I feel like I had a Six Sigma black belt by the time I got through high school. But it gave me kind of a unique look. You got to see the inside of a growing manufacturing company that had different divisions. It had, employees with different focuses. It had an international feel. Being able to, have people come in from all over the world. Our Japanese office coming in, and the son of the managing director, who is now the managing director of Fike Japan, just being little kids, and him and my brother running around. He didn't speak English, we didn't speak Japanese, but getting exposed to those kind of cultural changes of a company was fun.
Yeah.
Okay, Adam. We know that you are now the VP of Fike, and we know how you start. But can you tell us if you changed position in Fike? Have you been in marketing, in sales?
Mm-hmm.
I guess you need to know about all the areas to get a VP. So can you talk about how do you grow out in the company on these departments?
Sure. I mean, I hate to say starting at birth, but since I was little, my dad said, you have to be an engineer. If you can build it, you can sell it. So I think that's that's a good path for you. So we're engineers, right? I have a mechanical and aerospace engineering degree, but I worked at Fike as a teenager. I worked on the shop floor. I worked in the rupture disc lab assembling valves. I moved into just internships and new product development. I worked in our combustion lab, and I like to say that I only blew myself up once. I dyed myself maroon when an explosion happened kind of in my face a little bit, where I was testing the combustibility of the maroon dye that Bayer puts in their aspirin, and it just coated me, and I was dyed maroon for a week. But when I finished school and I had my engineering degree, I came back and I did work in marketing. But it was a time when I needed to go do something else, and I got an opportunity to leave Fike, and I worked in the film business in Los Angeles. I raised money and financing for independent films and television.
That's super interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. I've realized that celebrities are not as smart or interesting as you think they are. But I kind of worked in investment banking in the media space and bopped around there for a while, and then I moved to the Pacific Northwest, and I started a body care company with my ex-wife. So I got to grow a company from out of our garage, where we just said, hey, we want to make bath salts, we want to sell tea, to carrying a suitcase around the aisle at a Whole Foods, trying to get them to carry our bath salts. And we went from there to over 1,100 stores in about a year and a half.
Wow.
And at one point, we were the fastest growing natural body care brand in the country, in the U.S. And I learned a lot. I learned how to run my own manufacturing business. I learned how to run our logistics operation. I learned how to manage a sales force. I learned how to build a brand. So it was great to take these experiences and then come back to Fike.
Yep.
And I've been back at Fike for about 8 years now. And, in some of these companies, you have a culture, and it's been built on tradition. It's been built on, hey, this is how we do business.
Yep.
And that can be limiting sometimes. So when my brothers and I came back to the company, we had gone out and done other things. It gave us some distance that we could go and say, hey, if we ever say that's how we do things, that's just what we do. Take a step back and say, do we need to do it that way? And I think it's really driven the company to think differently and grow and try new things. And it's really exciting to be part of that.
Yep.
And when you can bring an enthusiasm like that, it's infectious. And there's a lot of people that are excited about trying new things and failing. Failing's just an opportunity to learn.
Yep.
And then you can find better ways to do things. So it's fun to be part of that.
Okay, so you are kind of entrepreneur.
Well, I never got to say what I do when I came back. So let me share that.
Yeah, of course.
So when I came back, I was working in key account management, and I tried to set up kind of relationships and agreements with large global companies. How could Fike be a partner with them? And because of our global reach, how could we bring more support and service based on that with large companies like Cargill and ADM and Kimberly-Clark and these large companies, so multinational conglomerates, right? But at a certain point, I got to start our consulting business. I sat there and I said, one of our key values is building science and inventing things. Well, why haven't we ever taken this institutional knowledge as a service to the market? So over the last 5 years, I've built our consulting business, and it's been very successful. We have a number of consultants globally that go in and do risk assessments for customers, that do studies, computational fluid dynamics studies. What is that? Well, it doesn't really matter. It's interesting, but it's really, really an opportunity to get close to your customer and let them know that we're an expert that can support you all the way through your process, from understanding that you have a problem, to designing mitigation for that problem, to installing, to servicing, and then to continually manage that change that needs to happen as a customer evolves and changes their process. And I also run our field service teams globally, which is important. You can only sell what you can service. And in certain parts of the world, we do that directly from the factory. But in other parts of the world, like here in Latin America, we need strong partners.
Yep.
Coltec is one of those partners that is like an extension of us. We trust them. They've been a key partner of ours for years. And we know that you can only support parts of the world through those partners. So it's fun to be part of that process and to be able to grow training and grow, support and enrichment opportunities for end customers, for our partners, for the world. An educated customer is the best customer.
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
Yeah.
You tell us that some inventions, and what is the creative process behind a new invention? So you detect a problem on the market and maybe you got some ideas, you build it. Do you know what is this process?
And also, like, at which point of the process do you like go get the patent, right? Because like that's I think, or maybe I've heard that in the States that's a huge deal, right, to get the patent.
Well, you need to protect your position.
Exactly.
You've put that time and effort into developing a new technology or a new product. So you should get a window of time where that's your product to sell.
Exactly.
Some of these industries become commoditized, though. There's only so many ways to do certain things, right? A sprinkler is a sprinkler. A valve's a valve, right? A steel disc that breaks is a steel disc that breaks, right? But, Fike is at times very engineering driven. Our engineers say, well, I'm interested in this, or what if we did this? Some of our products have really been driven by the mad scientist that is at Fike saying, I've been thinking about this, and hey, I don't believe this common knowledge that might be out there in the industry. Hey, an explosion's not going to propagate against a fan. Well, we built a testing fixture that tested that and showed not only does an explosion propagate against a fan, but because of the turbulence created, it propagates faster against a fan. And that was some groundbreaking work that we did. But, those opportunities to just kind of go try things out.
I think like the important process is also that you can hear what your employees are trying to innovate, right? Like you just won't say like, okay, that's a great idea. You will also be in that position to facilitate them, get that idea into a prototype, pilot, a product.
There's a danger to that though, because sometimes, you give them free rein, right?
Okay.
And they go put a ton of time and effort, and they come up with a solution, and then we say, does anybody want this solution? Well, maybe not. But giving them that opportunity and that flexibility and support, I think, is what drives you to that interesting next idea.
And the thing you explained about the field services, I think that will also help a lot because you'll be able to listen firsthand the needs of end users, right, of end customers, to actually see on site what's the problem, how to fix it, possible solutions.
What really drove that though is just a change in mindset that my brothers and I brought.
Yep.
My brother Brad he came back and he said, he came up with a phrase, customer intimacy. We need to know our customer. And Fike had been like most of our competitors, we turned into a parts company. A crate shows up with parts in it. Here's some IKEA instructions. Put it together, good luck. We'll be there to turn it on. We'd get there to turn it on. It would not be put together right. And we'd say, hey, you didn't do this right. You got to fix it and we'll be back. Well, that's not a good customer experience.
Nope.
And so we realized that we needed to be involved much earlier on projects so that we could help guide that customer experience, make sure that things were installed correctly, because you guys know in life safety systems, something's moved a foot away from where it's supposed to be, it doesn't work. And if our job is to make sure that these people that work at these places come back, go home that night to be with their families, well, you need to be able to make sure that it's installed correctly. So that's why we've really gone to making sure that our partners are trained correctly, and then where we have to, building out the capacity to go do it ourselves.
Yep.
And it creates a much better customer experience. They're happy. They're like, well, this wasn't like, oh, it's a nightmare trying to get this thing installed. In fact, we never actually even installed. We'll go on site sometimes and we're like, there's a system sitting there on the floor. Oh yeah, we just never even installed it. It's been there for 10 years. We don't even know what it is anymore. Or you see it and it's not turned on. Well, why isn't it turned on? Well, it kept giving me a trouble light, so we just turned it off. I'm like, well,
we've seen that.
Why do you have it then? I mean,
there are a lot of cases.
Yeah.
When we visit our customers, I know the panel was sounding like horrible, and we just disconnected. Okay. Okay, Adam. Tell us about what is Fike Blue. We have never talked about Fike Blue in this podcast. I mean, we know the solution, we know how it works, but for the people that are listening us, it is correct.
Yeah.
Sorry for my English is not the best, but
it's just as good as my English.
I don't think so, but thanks. Okay, what is Fike Blue? How does it work? How did it start? I mean, and also we know that we need to send the lithium-ion batteries to you to make some destroying test. Is there any way that this could be a standard on next year's for all the lithium batteries? How do you see the market on the next years for Fike Blue?
Yeah, I would say we had a customer come to us that was using lithium-ion batteries in an application, and they said, hey, can you sell us a system that protects this? And we tested all of the different agents that are out there that were supposedly able to to protect lithium-ion batteries, and we just found none of them worked. And we kept looking around and saying, hey, what about this agent that's out there? What about this? And just none of them worked. So what did Fike do? We invented something that works. And like I said, it's Fike Blue. It's a liquid. It's blue.
Yeah.
It is actually FDA approved. You can drink it. I've never tried to drink it, but I've been told you can drink it. I wouldn't if I were you, but what's great about that is it doesn't decompose into any caustic chemicals either. It's easy to deploy, but what its approach is we don't say that it's a fire suppressant. It is a thermal management system. So what does it do when our detection controls sense heat rise from a cell going into thermal runaway, which lithium-ion batteries, they can go into thermal runaway where they get incredibly hot, they off-gas explosive gases that can explode, and it can happen very fast.
Yep.
But we've done a ton of testing. You deploy Fike Blue into the module where there might be hundreds of cells, and it brings the temperature down, or contains the temperature of the ones that are in thermal runaway, and brings them below 100 Celsius. And we've found that if you can keep it below 100 Celsius, it doesn't cause what they call cascading thermal runaway, where one's really hot and then the next one next to it goes into thermal runaway, and the next one, and the next one, and the next one, where it just cascades, and that's where they get that name, right? We found we haven't seen anything else on the market that can do this. And the problem with this is that what are the standards that are currently controlling this? There's a UL standard called UL 9540A, where you have to test your batteries and you have to test your module configurations to this test. and we offer what we call battery hazard analysis that will pre-qualify and do some testing. It's really expensive to do 9540A. So we offer some testing capacity where we say, are you going to pass 9540A or not? And each configuration needs to be tested like any Fike Blue system that is protecting a battery configuration has to go through that 9548 test. So it's not a quick like, oh, just plug in a system and you're ready to go. It does take a lot of development and testing time beforehand. What are the other standards? There's a new NFPA standard called 855 that's specifically about lithium-ion batteries, and that's a newer standard. We've been helping a lot with the development of that standard. There's ever-changing, like, oh, the standard allowed for all these different things, and they're starting to realize, oh, well, that solution doesn't work, and that solution doesn't work. Well, this solution does work. Are we going to allow this solution? And it's ever-changing right now, and there's been a lot of work on that standard, and we're glad that we're part of that process.
Yeah. The standard is nowadays online, or is
yes, you can look it up. It's NFPA 855.
Okay.
Yeah. There's another standard that's just started, NFPA 800, I believe, which is on the cell level, where 855, I think, is on the system level.
Okay.
I think so. And if you publish this podcast and I'm wrong, I apologize.
We'll put it in the captions. Yeah.
I'm gonna buy it, and if you can sign for me. Okay, Adam, would you like to comment something? Or?
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested. You talked about you're on the field service, on the consulting. You have a lot of people who are working, and from all that stuff, like, what's the thing, the deal, the activity or whatever that brings you the most excitement from all your projects, all the things you've done these years? Like, is there a thing that like drives you the most inside all of those things that you're doing?
You know, it's really more about where I'm positioned. You know, that my title and the different groups that I'm in charge of, I think, are not really indicative of what my position is at the company. Just being a family member, I'm on the board of directors. I become a place where people come to me and say, you know, I'm thinking this, I need some support here. What do you think here? I don't even know those people on the other side of the world. You know, who should I be talking to? And just because of my position, you know, I have insight, I have knowledge and connections with people that if this were just my title and I wasn't a family member, they wouldn't know that. And sometimes it's always funny because I'm on the board.
Yep.
And I used to make a joke that my boss's boss reports to my little brother, and my older brother said, "No, that's not what you have to understand. Your boss's boss's boss reports to you because I'm on the board."
Yep.
So I would find myself in meetings where my boss would be talking to me and saying this and this and this, and I'd say, actually, that's not where we're going.
Yeah.
But what I love is being able to be part of the conversation about the entire company and our direction globally, and being someone that people can come to and talk and share their concerns, and looking for advice and looking for that input from somebody, and I'm allowed to do that.
Yep.
It's really freeing when you realize you can't be fired. So it gives you a certain opportunity to push boundaries, to really do things that might scare other people, and I really enjoy that.
Yeah. And I guess that the experience you had outside of Fike gives you that credibility, right? Like,
oh, I don't know about that.
Also, like, at what moment did you said, like, all right, I actually like this industry, I like what we do? So how did you get, like, maybe from a young age, maybe later in your career like engaged with the company?
Well, I mean, it's in your DNA, right?
Yep.
You know that.
Mhm.
I mean, when you go to work every day and part of your job is to sell your family story, that's where I've always been successful. In that body care company, I was selling the story of my ex-wife, you know. It was built around her story, so it's really easy to sell when you've got that personal connection.
Yeah.
So at Fike, it's really every day the decisions I make affect my family, affect all of our employees. I can point at the wall and say, that's my family on the wall there. So that's exciting every day.
Yep.
When you're a cog at a huge company and you have no connection, you don't have any idea what's going on above you, you can kind of get lost. And so one of the things I really try to do at Fike is that I want everybody from the very top to the very bottom. I want the janitorial staff to understand what Fike's brand story is, what our mission is, and what our strategy is. Hey, what's our global explosion protection strategy, you know, to the person working the front desk? I want them to be able to answer that. They feel connected. Guys on the shop floor, they came in, they worked overtime one weekend for a specific job to get out the door. You go and talk to them. You say, this is what that meant. This is what that led to with this customer, with that, which led to the next thing and the next thing. What you did coming in on that Saturday, that created $10 million worth of sales. And they start to say, oh, I'm part of this. I'm connected.
Yeah.
This means something. And that's what gets me excited every day.
Nice, nice.
All right. Just for finishing, we like to finish the episodes with an advice, of course, coming from you. Some of the context is the world every day is getting hot, hotter and hotter. So maybe the fire will increase on next years. We got new generation of lithium ion, and we have also younger people that is making engineering fire solutions. We would like to know an advice to these younger generations that are growing up and will be the future of fire protection, or maybe just not fire protection, construction in general. What advice can you tell to the audience?
Well, this might be a little too esoteric or whatever, but the advice I give my employees, and this might be contrary to what most people think of, oh, you got to work 80 hours a week and you got to just, you know, you got to grind. And my advice to people is, this job is not your life.
Yep.
And if you are burned out, you're not going to be a good employee. Happy employees are good employees. So find joy in your life. Find things to do. Realize that there is life with your family and outside of the office. And if you bring that energy and you bring that joy back to the company, you're going to be twice as productive. And that's really what I want my teams to know is, hey, let's have some fun, you know? As a boss used to say to me, I mean, when people come to me and they're like, oh, I think I screwed up, I think I did this, I just say, it's all going to be okay. That's what one of my bosses was a country boy. So let's just say, it's all going to be okay. And I just want people to know, you know, it's okay to mess up. It's okay, but we just keep going. And, you know, we work hard, we try hard, but go home and find a hobby. I'm a really bad woodworker. I make really awful furniture. You know, I you know, go play on a soccer team. Excuse me, football.
Yeah. Please.
You know, play golf. Go to your kid's sporting. Never miss a sporting event of your kid because you're at the office. You know, that's what I try and tell people.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, you know, somebody might say, oh, you're telling people to be lazy. No, I'm telling people to be focused on what's important in their lives. Job's important, but outside of your job is important too.
Yeah.
Okay. Great advice. So we finish. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Emilio.
Thank you.
You can come to us and talk whenever you want. This is your space. Also, I guess you know that.
Thank you.
So thank you and see you next occasion.
Thank you. Bye bye.